Welcome back to the channel. My name's Adam Smith, and today I've got an exciting solo playthrough for you as we journey to the center of the earth in Rolling Deep from Bitewing Games. And as you saw on the channel recently, I covered Eureka from Bitewing Games, and both Eureka and Rolling Deep are going to Kickstarter together, and that campaign link can be found in the pinned comment and video description for those interested. So once you're done checking out this video, go check out my Eureka video and vice versa to find the full picture on this entire campaign. You'll also find a link in the top right-hand corner right now, which will include the unboxing for Rolling Deep and Eureka, as well as the two playthroughs all together in one playlist for you to check out everything you need to know about this campaign. So without further ado, let's find out a bit more about Rolling Deep, and then we'll talk about the components here set up on the table for solo play, as this is a solo-only game, and then we'll dive into chapters of play together. Rolling Deep is a Belantro-inspired roguelike dice-building adventure, where you'll be able to physically remove dice faces off the three main characters that are journeying to the center of the earth. In green, Sadie Snake Eyes; in red, Sir Pipsqueak; and in purple, Gary, represented by these three different dice. And the dice faces come off and can be upgraded from the tray of different options above: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, respectively. Also, there are a number of effects tied to those numerical values as well. So as your strategy evolves, your dice will also evolve, and that's going to lead you towards hopefully delving deeper and deeper to your journey to the center of the earth through 5 chapters of the game, with a boss at the very end of each chapter, which will throw effects at you you'll have to mitigate. Here's a look at the chapter cards. I'm keeping 4 of them hidden until we reach them during gameplay, but chapter number 1 is on top. So once we combine this deck together, chapter 1 will be on the very top. The marker lets us know we are on the first round of 3 rounds with target scores of 6, 7, and then 8. You'll notice the 8 has a bow tie at the bottom, and that ties to the boss card, which means the effects that come off the boss card, which we'll reveal in a little bit, will let us know what kind of nastiness we have to deal with from the boss at the end of each chapter. Every single chapter we go through will have a final round with boss effects involved, but we will know what those effects are prior to actually reaching that final third round. So we'll know from round number 1 what's going to be coming at us and what we'll have to deal with, and we can strategically try to work around it, or at least avoid some of its effects if possible. As we finish each round, hitting its target score or exceeding it, we'll gain 3 coins in the case of the top one here, and be able to shop. And underneath that, 5 coins and shopping again. And then finally, discovery card and shopping. Discovery cards come out of this deck right here. And as you'll see as we go through gameplay, these discovery cards are extremely cool and very powerful. And something you might have noticed on the chapter cards, it shows standard at the very bottom of them. So all 5 of these are on the standard side. If you flip them over to the opposite side, you have the advanced. So you can kind of go after higher targeted numerical values if you want to kind of increase your difficulty. The actual board itself that you're progressing across in order to reach those target numerical values can also be played on the advanced side, which is on the opposite side of this board. In the prototype, it's not present. It's just artwork right now, but we have the basic side face up here. I've got my scoring marker starting at 0. There is no 0 space in this prototype, but in the final version there will be. And we've got ourselves marked here in terms of our target score for the very first round at 6, which is what this blue marker represents. Down here in the bottom left, this marker is going to tell us basically the cost of rerolls. And secondly, to also track the refreshing of the shop. Now, in the final version, there will be 2 tracks here so that they're being tracked independently and they don't get mixed up. But essentially here in the prototype version, what will happen is during my turn, once I roll my dice, if I wish to go ahead and spend a potion token here, I can do a single reroll of a die of my choosing. And then this is going to increase, meaning that the next time I want to reroll a die, it is going to cost me 2 within that round. So this is happening on a round basis. And then, of course, once the round is over, this resets back down to 1 again. But this can only increase for rerolls up to 3, which is what that luck symbol is there, the 4-leaf clover. Once it hits 3, it can't go beyond the cost of 3 for a reroll, but every subsequent reroll in that round is going to stay at 3, which becomes very costly for the potions you have. Now, later in the round when you shop, which you'll see how that works when we actually hit it during gameplay, essentially it's going to cost a coin to refresh the shop. That's going to have you discarding everything that's currently available in the shop in order to draw up 3 cards, which essentially is 1 from each of the main characters' decks. Now, far over here on the left-hand side of the game board, I've got myself a +5 to score on the standard side. If you're playing the advanced side in terms of difficulty, you get a +10 to score. Essentially what this means, you start with this from the beginning of the game. If you want to add 5 to your score at any time, you can go ahead and use this to bump your score up. Especially good in a situation where you've rolled dice, it doesn't meet what you want, and you've already burnt a lot of your rerolls, and you don't have availability to get your score up to that target number inside of a round. This can certainly help you, but you got it as a one-time use here. I've got myself 3 gold to start off. Again, this will tie back into the shop and buying things later on. You'll see that happen. The shop cards are up here. You have the 3 different decks for the 3 different characters. So every time you go into a shop phase, essentially, you'll be drawing a card, a single one down, and then being able to purchase based on how many coins you have. So trying to accumulate coins is a great thing to do. You're going to see results, basically, 0 through 1, 2 to 3, 4 to 5, and 6+. This is going to be the tally total of what your dice get when you roll them. So when you roll the dice, you might get a result of 3, and then you go ahead and check the corresponding lane of 3, and cards that you have actually gone ahead and picked up from the shop, which will be purchased by the coins that you have, will end up in these rows over here, and they can only have as many as have gear icons in these rows. So essentially there are slots, and there's lots of slots for 0 to 1, not as many for 2 to 3, not as many for 4 to 5, and very little for 6, but these can trigger additional effects on top of the result that you actually got, helping you push yourself through your journey to the center of the earth. So not only is it going to help you progress on the track, it's also going to trigger a bunch of effects that might give you a bunch of other benefits during gameplay. Now, I've gone ahead and flipped over a boss card because at the very beginning of a chapter, you get to know exactly what the boss will do to you in its miffed form. Its miffed form is the blue side face up. And of course, if we flip this to the opposite side, it's kind of the enraged or rage side, which is a worse side to have. And this happens automatically once you get to chapter number 5. The boss will be in the worst state possible. However, there are chances that the game might actually have this flip or rotate even earlier, which is kind of nasty in terms of a card that might come at you earlier than you expect. But for the first 4 chapters, you're going to get an individual card for each one, representing a boss for each of the different chapters 1 through 4. You only have to worry about the effect in the miffed area here when you actually hit round number 3, when the bow tie actually corresponds to the card. So for the first 2 rounds, we don't have to care about this effect whatsoever, but in the 3rd round of chapter 1, we will. And it's telling us that if we have any dice results that are exactly the same, 2 of them basically that are the same, they do not score. That is going to definitely hold us back from hitting our target score on the round we are aiming for. Let's quickly touch on tokens and dice. So first off with the tokens, I won't touch on any that we're not actually seeing from the beginning of the game, like mushrooms, for example, just yet, but you'll see how those work as we actually get them into play. But you know about coins will help you with the shop purchases, things like that. You've got the potions, which will help you with rerolls of the main character dice you're trying to pull off the best results for to progress to your target score within a round. There's also time tokens, which I placed 3 out right here because within a given round, you have 3 time in order to pull it off. And within that time, you're able to do an adventure. Basically, that's considered the adventure of actually delving deeper to the center of the earth, attempting to hit that mark in your round. And within each adventure turn, which is tracked again across the 3 different attempts that you have, you're going to be rolling, totaling up your results, using mushroom results, and also resetting your rerolls and flipping over time token at the very end of your turn. You get to do this 3 times before your time has expired, and by then you've better hit your target score or you can't move on. During gameplay, I'll be rolling the dice through the dice tower here, which looks pretty awesome. And also, the dice faces on the dice for the characters will be changing as we upgrade things. So, for example, if I had the opportunity to upgrade a die with a 1, I could look at a die like this and go, well, I've got a 0 here, for example, not providing me much benefit. You just simply put your piece that you're trying to add on underneath, just lifting a little bit, it'll pop right off, and then you just simply snap it into position, and these lock in nicely, but they also come off really easily, and you've now adjusted that die. I've reset the dice back to their original character faces, and at this point we are ready to dive into gameplay, starting in the very first round of chapter number 1. So we'll start off this round with activating any torch icons that we currently have out in play, which we don't yet, but we will in the future. And then we go into the adventure phase, which is trying our luck and rolling dice until we meet the target score. We'll flip this over to the opposite side, getting the breakdown you saw earlier here, the steps involved. Again, if we don't meet the target score at the end of a round, once all of our time has expired, then our expedition has failed and we'll have to try again another time. So you do have to continually keep going through these rounds successfully and then through the chapters successfully in order to get to the core and win. So let's start things off with a roll and see how we do in terms of results. Again, I want to see high results because that will get us to progress further along the track faster before our time expires. So here we go. Rolling 1. That's a 2, not bad. A face is nothing, but there's a pretty good roll off the hop. A 4 right there. Now, again, I have the opportunity with the 3 potions I have. I could use 1 potion right now to re-roll a die, so I could really push to kind of complete things early. But if I'm doing pretty good, if I only need to get to 6 and I've already got 4, probably not worth spending a potion right now. So if I'm done rolling and I don't want to re-roll anything, I can now go ahead and score the result, and the result's going to be a 4 in this case, which is here totaling up the dice faces. I also gain any coins and any potions that are actually shown next to the numerical values at this point. But I don't currently have any of those on the dice faces, so nothing to worry about there. Also, at this point, we check to see if there are any mushrooms next to the result value in our little tableau off to the left. So we total up this value, which was 4. We're now going to look over to the left from the 4 to 5 range to see if there's any mushrooms. We know there isn't, but we'd look anyway and see if we can add more into our result. Now, mushrooms are awesome, something you want to try and utilize as much as possible, as it'll give you additional points towards your score. So you can see with my result of 4, I got off the dice. I'm in this lane right here, but I have no mushrooms sitting here right now, so I get nothing for them. Now, if I happen to have had 3 mushrooms here, and you'll see how mushrooms actually show up here as we get further into gameplay, but hypothetically, let's say I had some here already, we'd actually take a look at this and go 1, 2, 3. Well, guess what? My marker's moving 3. It would go from 4 to 7, which means I've just exceeded the actual value I needed for round 1 with only going through 1 time in order to do it. Pretty good. But what happens is once you actually get that bonus, then you have to remove or spoil 1 mushroom from that area. So over the course of time, you may have mushrooms built up in different layers, but again, you're only going to go ahead and activate the mushroom layer based on your dice result. Now, it is worth mentioning you could eventually get cards from the shop that will allow you to get bonus points into your result total, which could change the outcome of how things are triggered here, but we won't talk about that until it actually becomes a thing. And we'll see here the next step after the mushrooms, because I get nothing for them because I don't have any over here in the 4 result right here. The next thing is activating wand results. So if I happen to have a wand in this row I have triggered here, then I get whatever's on that wand as an effect. I don't have anything. You can also trigger any pickaxe. Pickaxes can be in any one of the layers, which is cool, and they could potentially trigger at this point to give you added effects. And also you have the bow tie here tying back to the boss in case it somehow impacts the scoring of the round that you're inside of. Nothing to worry about here right now, so we just go ahead and reset any usage of re-rolling. So if we had have actually re-rolled one of my dice, we would have pumped this up. Right now we'd reset it if we had have used a die. We did not. But one thing that does happen is we're going to go ahead and flip this over. I've already gone ahead and done this moments ago. So we're good. And we go right back to the top because we have 2 more time to go through. So the adventure phase moves fast and furious as you're rolling dice, taking results, triggering different things, and moving on to that next time. So let's go ahead and roll some dice and see what we get on the next result. Pretty happy with that result as well. That is 3 right there. We know we have a 4, and we're definitely going to be able to exceed our target that we're trying to go after. Plus, I get a coin out of it on top of it. So let's go ahead and choose not to use any rerolls whatsoever. I'm very happy with this result. And we're going to go ahead and jump ourselves from 4 to 7 and also gain the coin off of this as well. So now we have a total of 4 coins in our inventory and 3 potions. And what I'm going to do to make things easier for you guys in terms of the potions that I have, I'm going to place the ones I have available to me underneath this board here, because as we roll dice, you'll be able to see how many rerolls I potentially could pull off, and it'll tie into this track that we're tracking for rerolls as well as also camp refreshes in the future. And then for coins, I've left them over here because eventually when we go to shop, we'll be focused over on that side of the table, and the +5 to score scroll is over there as well in case I need it. So we can skip right past 3 and 4 on the adventure turn because they don't apply in this case, and we go ahead and actually flip over another time token, and that's going to do it. We have reached our target score, and so we stop right here, and we're going to gain any rewards off the row, which is 3 coins and a visit to shop. So to help connect the dots here, we finished out the adventure turn, and as you can see when you flip over the reference card on the opposite side, which is what we did primarily the adventure, we moved to reward, which is what I just did by giving myself coins. So I had 4 coins, I'm now at 7 coins, which is awesome, and it shows you gain 3 for the round number 1 within a chapter, 5 round number 2, and the discovery card after you deal with the boss in a chapter. So we're done that. We got ourselves our 3 coins added in, so we have 7, which is great. Next up is interest. We can activate a pig icon here. They can have really cool effects, but you have to actually actually have one sitting in your rows over here to the right. We don't currently have one, but as an option right now, it tells us we gain 1 coin for every 3 mana potions or potions that we have, or a potion or reroll potion for every 5 coins. So we have to make that choice. So right now with 5 coins, I could take 1 reroll potion, or with the 3 reroll potions I have, I could go ahead and gain 1 coin. So I can go either way there. Now, as our next step is to go ahead and shop, I'm going to go ahead and take the coin because that's going to allow me to have more options when I go shopping here by having more money. So it is worth mentioning when that choice comes up as to whether you go the potion route or the coin route, you can only pick one of the two. And after revealing the shop roll, we got ourselves some options here. The coin costs in the top right-hand corner, so some of them are very cheap and essentially will trigger right away. So for instance, this one right here costs 1 coin. It says for the 6th row over here, you get to add 1 mushroom. So if I go ahead and purchase that for 1 coin, I get 1 mushroom, which gets placed by the 6th, and that'll give me a +1 boost to my result score later on when I'm delving further into round number 2, which is not bad. This one here is pretty good because this actually is great from the standpoint you pay 5 coins, and at the start of the round, you're going to gain 3 coins. So this is kind of a money-making machine right here. And as you know from this right here, each round you're going to activate the torch. Well, there's a torch right there. So that might be the one I go after. And then this one here costs a coin. It says destroy all of your mushrooms, which is pretty brutal. So if you have a whole bunch of mushrooms across each of the 4 different rows, you destroy all of them, getting rid of all of them, but then you add 1 to each row. So this is the kind of thing you want to purchase when you either have nothing here, just like I do in this situation, or very little. It's important to know that if you have the coin to spend, you can spend all of it purchasing whatever you want, or you can actually hoard some of it for later on in future shop visits. So that's part of the strategy, is deciding whether the right moment to spend the coin is now or later. Also, you have the shop refresh, which again, during the shop phase, it resets back to 0. And the first time you refresh the shop, it will be 1. It's going to move up in terms of cost, and then it'll cost 2 coins to refresh. And it'll just keep on moving up until it hits 5. And then from that point on, it just is really expensive to continue refreshing that area, and you probably will run out of money pretty quickly. But essentially right now, I've got the option here with 3 coins to potentially go after both these if I want to. I could refresh the shop and then have 2 coins left to try to see if there's something else there. But honestly, I'm pretty happy with this one, because if I take advantage of this for 1 coin, I'm getting a mushroom across all 4 of these layers. All right, so I got myself 2 coins left over. Do I really want to pick this one up? Maybe I will, actually. Let's just go ahead and double down. We're going to basically kind of increase a future usage of mushrooms down here. And because I'm essentially using all of the cards here, but this will gain me 1 more mushroom that I'll place down here in the 6th area. Now, again, I'm not going to probably hit 6 anytime soon because, again, my dice at the best... Actually, well, that's not true, because on the dice currently, for the most part, they have the same values, but you can see you've got 0s, they've got 1s, they've got 2s. So there is definitely a chance I could roll 2s on all of them and hit that 6, but it's far less likely from the beginning of the game. Your range for your end result is likely going to be more so in these first 2 rows to start the game out. And then as you build things up, it'll start to lean towards 4, 5, and 6 and beyond. Now, with that in mind, you might be thinking, well, if I just go ahead and get those dice upgraded to really high values, I can kind of live in this area and really be pushing up the track really quick all the time, no problems at all. Well, that's not how this game's designed. It is going to throw all kinds of wrenches at you and have you shifting your strategy from being really strong in this area sometimes to needing to be really strong over here, or splitting them up, because the boss effect cards are going to be constantly messing with your dice results and also what you can score across the layers. So don't worry, even though the obvious strategy would be to go for the higher numerical values on the dice, that isn't going to always work, especially when it comes to that boss round number 3. And that brings us to the end of the round, which tells us to advance. We're going to reset all of the time markers, which will just flip back over again. And the score trackers, every single score tracker is going to be reset. So basically my yellow one up here goes back to 0, which again isn't on the board, but it'll be right beside the 1. It will have a 0 space in the final version, as I mentioned. The markers here are going to move. So this round marker will move down to 7, which means the 7 is going to be where the blue marker will go. And this just stays at 1 where it was. And just like that, let's head into round number 2 of chapter number 1. So I've got my score marker here on 0, working our way up to 7 is what we're aiming for based on the card up here. All my time available. We're going to flip this over, and the first thing it tells us to do, which we can actually do this time, is to activate torches, providing me with 3 coins. And just like that, I've got 4 coins up from 1, which is awesome. So that torch is going to absolutely pay for itself at a cost of 5 by giving me 3 at the start of every round. That'll be huge. We now go into an adventure turn, so we know what to do. Let's roll some dice and see what we get and see how far we can progress. We need to hit the target score in this round number 2 of 7 in order to get there, but we have some time to do it. When you get the face of one of the characters in the game on your die, it's essentially a 0, but there will be game effects as you get further into gameplay, which will actually leverage that result. Right now, it doesn't help me whatsoever, so essentially it's like I got a 1, 0, and a 0. Now I've got to get to a target of 7, and with a roll like that, not so great, but I don't think I want to spend reroll potions in order to try to actually reroll anything here. I'd rather just take what I got, so I'm going to go up by 1, which is not much, and that's going to have me actually going up by 2. But before we do that, and I'll talk about why we're going up by 2 in a second, first off, resolve the rest of what's on the dice, and that's going to be a reroll token being gained, which is great. So I got my reroll token down here. I'm on 1 up there, but I get an extra 1 because I'm resolving this layer right here, which has a mushroom. And if you have any mushrooms over here, you have to go ahead and resolve it. So essentially, I'm going to go ahead and discard this for 1 extra movement. So remember, you always get the bonus of the total of mushrooms you have in that layer at that moment, and then you have to spoil one of them. I only had 1, so I only got 1 out of it, and then I had to spoil 1. Well, it was the only one there. But if it had been this one right here, as I mentioned before in a prior kind of example, if it had been this instead, I would get 2 points on the board and spoil 1 of them. As of right now, I have no wands to trigger, I have no pickaxes to trigger, and no boss effects are impacting me until round number 3, and we're in round 2, so we're good for now. So I flipped over a time marker. Let's roll some dice. Now, I'm hoping this roll is going to be a little bit more productive than the last one I got, although I like the reroll token. That was nice. Let's see what we get here. We got, oh no, that's not good. Oh no, even worse. Okay, we did get a 2. That salvaged it a little bit. Now, if I was to commit this right now, it would be a 2 value, and I do have a mushroom in that row, so I'd actually get 3 out of this if I stopped right here and didn't use any rerolls. So 3 would get me to 5, and that would be within shot of hitting my target. I probably want to do that because I want to hold on to reroll tokens as much as possible, not just burn them for the sake of burning them. So I'm going to go ahead right now and just count this as is. So it's going to give me 2, jumping up to 4. There is a mushroom in the result row of 2 to 3, so that is going to be used and spoiled in order to get me up to 5. And that is another time down. Let's roll some dice and see if we can get the last 2 we need to meet our target for the round. We got a 1, that's good. We got another 1, there it is, and another 1, perfect. We'll score that result of 3 right now, which is great. We also get a coin off the green die, which is awesome. So this coin will go into my pool, which I have 4. Now I've got 5. So I've met my target. My 5 coins are in hand. There's nothing else to trigger here in terms of mushrooms whatsoever because I don't currently have any at their value of 3. And so that's going to do it. We have met the mark here. So we'll go ahead and expand that time because we were technically in the 3rd round as of the end of that roll right there. And at this point, we're going to go ahead and take the spoils, which is going to be 5 coins added to the 5 I have here for a total of 10. And we're going to do some shopping. We got some very interesting options to choose from up here. The one on the left here is for 1 coin. We get to add a mushroom to each row with none, which is actually 2 of them, so it's not horribly great, but not horribly bad. 5 coins for this one is plus 2 coins whenever you score. Essentially, when you're scoring out your dice, if you happen to have 2 that have the same result on the face, then you're going to gain 2 coins. That's pretty awesome. This one here says we're going to get an additional 1 of these cards every time we shop. So instead of just pulling 1 card, you get 2, which just increases how much you can actually buy and also different options when you shop. I decided to go ahead with the pickaxe here because I really want to score extra coins when I get the same face result. That sounds pretty awesome. Now I got 5 coins left. The question is, what do I do? Well, I could go for this. It's a very cheap option. I could also choose to refresh the shop and see if I can get something else out of it. But again, I kind of want to keep my coins. I'm being a little bit of a hoarder right now. I might go for this one because it would give me the mushroom bonus, a very light mushroom bonus, but 1 coin for 2 is not terrible. So I think I'll go ahead and do that, and I'm too far away from this right now, so that's not going to work. So let's go ahead and spend the 1 coin in order to get some mushrooms here, and this will be discarded. Not bad at all. We'll place that one in the 0 to 1 row. Again, you can choose to place it where you want. These have the gear icon on the top left, so you have those positions to put them in as you see fit. For right now, I'm happy to put them up here. There is a thing in terms of destroying equipment. So during the shop phase, you can actually remove equipment out of the equation. Whenever you remove for equipment, everything on the right side shifts over to the left. And there's different aspects of gameplay that will kind of mess with what you have in these slots and have game effects that will cause you a little bit of grief. You might have things set a certain way, and then the game kind of throws wrenches at you. So there's a little bit of fun in the organization of things, but you can never freely rearrange the things you have set into the different layers unless some game effect comes along that allows you to. Now, it is worth mentioning as we go into round number 3 right now, resetting everything back to where it should be. This is what we need to focus on. The myth side of this boss card here says if we get any two faces that are the same on our dice roll, once we choose to score the results, we do not score those results that are the same, which is unfortunate. Now, it also says here on the pickaxe, you're going to get +2 coins whenever you score a combination that has the same face. So you can see right here, the boss will mess with this. You're not going to be able to score. So this is basically something I just picked up, which will not be useful for this round. In the future it will be, but this effect is going to stop this. Now, for me to clear chapter number 1, I need to get to 8 or higher. So let's go ahead with our first roll here and see how we do. A 2 is pretty solid. Another 2 is solid, and this 2 is solid, but here is where things go sideways. That effect literally messes me over. It will negate both of these results, so any combination of 2 or 2 together that are the same. So basically, I'll only net myself 2 out of this fantastic roll. Otherwise, this would have been phenomenal in any other round so far, but in the boss round, not so great. Now, again, I can also use reroll tokens to go ahead and remove the other 2 out of the equation, right? But because I got 3 2s, it's going to require more rerolls than I probably want to use. Yes, and before we go any further, don't want to forget about the +3 coins I get at the start of the round. So let's add those to the pile I've got over here. So now I have 7 before we go ahead and decide what we want to do with our dice. This was a brutal roll to get for the boss round right now because of the fact I really would have to spend a lot of reroll potions, because 1 will allow me to change 1 face of die, hopefully to something else other than 2. But then if I want to do it again, because I still have a pair there, it would get negated, I'd have to spend another 2 to do it. It just doesn't make any sense any way you cut it in terms of how much I would be spending. So let's just go ahead and cash in on 2 movement. Now, the good news is I did put a mushroom over here in the result of 2, so I get to make use of that, spoiling the mushroom and going up an additional space. And again, this is not going to trigger, but it normally would if we did not have that nasty boss effect in here that tells me I can't go ahead and score combinations of the same die result face. So that was kind of sad and painful, but let's go ahead into our next round and hope for a better result. This can be a nasty effect, these combinations not being scoreable. I do not like it. The next roll here is a 0. That's not good. Next one, oh no, this is not looking good at all. I'm going to spend a reroll token, drop myself from 4 down to 3 left, and we're going to pick a die to reroll. So which one do we want to reroll? I mean, maybe the green one, because it has some really good effects on it. It has I believe it has the one with the most effects. This one has 2 coins on it. This one has no extra bonuses on it yet, and this one has 1 potion on it. So let's go for the coin one and see how we do here. Oh my gosh, got to roll inside the tower would be good, and that's a 1. Okay. Something. Now, if I actually cash that in, I do have a mushroom on the 1 result right now. So if I took that, I'd actually go to 5, which is within an attempted shot at 8 on my final roll. So I could run with this, and then I do still have all these rerolls in my back pocket. Remember, I also have the +5 to score. So if I really get into a jam, I've got this one-time saving grace here I can use. I decided to score it, give me 1 plus the 1 for the mushroom, which gets us to 5. And now we're going to go for our final roll here. Time token's been flipped, as you can see in the bottom there. Let's go ahead and roll and see if we can get the 3 we need. We also have 3 reroll potions left. Let's see what we get. We got ourselves a 2. That's a pretty solid result. A 1. Come on. I think I actually got it already. We only need 3. We got exactly what we needed. Plus, this ended up being a reroll potion on top of it, and none of them were the same value, which is great. I was definitely getting worried there for a second, jumping ourselves from 5 up to 8, and we also gained a reroll token, so we now have 4. And that, my friends, means Chapter 1 is complete, which means we gain a discovery card, and we get to go shopping, and I cannot wait to see what's on top of that discovery card deck. Now, before I go ahead with my discovery card for round number 3, in round number 2, I forgot to go ahead and do the interest step at all. I just completely glazed right over top of it. I had 10 coins at the time, and I had 4 reroll potions, so I get that selection on interest as to what I want to gain. I don't want to miss out on getting those, so I'm getting 2 reroll potions for the 10 coins that I had in round number 2. No gameplay impact. This is a retroactive thing that I forgot to do. At this point in time, let's flip over the discovery card for round number 3 and see what I've gained. This should be exciting. We got ourselves, ooh, this is interesting. It says 5 coins and gain interest from coins twice, then from the actual potions once. So that's going to give me a total of 12 coins now. So if I'm gaining interest from coins twice, then normally I would be getting myself a potion for 5 and a potion for 5. But if I'm doing it twice, that's going to be a total of 4 potions, which I placed here. And then I'm going to go ahead and cash in on interest once from the potions. And because I have 3 potions, 3 potions, and 3 potions, that's going to be 3 coins. So as you can clearly see, those discovery cards are extremely valuable. And now we're going to actually go ahead and do our interest step like normal. Again, that interest was because of the card itself. Now we go ahead with regular interest, but I have a choice between whether I do it here or here. I'm going to go ahead and take 3 more coins. So we'll go ahead and remove 2 coins out of here, and we'll give ourselves a 5, and that'll have a total of 18 going into the shop. Now, this is a great row of cards. I don't even know if I want to refresh the shop here because they're so good. The one on the right-hand side for 2 coins will allow me to change a die face specifically for this character's die, which is nice, a +1 with a potion attached as well. For 5 coins, this one says you're going to net 5 coins whenever you score 3 faces that are the same. While it happens very rarely, you saw it happen once already, maybe even twice already, so that's actually a pretty solid one to get. It would pay for itself quite quickly, I think. And then this one is 5 coins whenever a row gains mushrooms from a specific icon type of this, then it gains +1 mushrooms. So that's not bad either. Let's get ourselves our very first dice upgrade, which should be awesome. So we got this symbol right here, which I'll go ahead and attach to this die. So that's going to be the red one right here. Now I get to select whatever side I want to actually upgrade, and I definitely want to make that 0 something more beneficial. So we'll pop that one off easily, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to place that new 1 there instead, plus the potion on top of it will really make this die more useful. Next up, let's go ahead and pick up this pickaxe here for 5 coins. I'm liking this, allowing me to get some extra coins in a situation where it benefits me. So let's go ahead and spend 5 coins. That is a little bit more situational, but I think it could be worth it. And this one here says whenever a row gains mushrooms from a consumable item, that's what that icon meant earlier when I was mentioning it, it gains +1 mushrooms. So I think that will come in handy later on as well. So because it's talking about whenever a row gains mushrooms, it gains an additional one. I think that's just really good to have so we can really start bulking things up. I'm going to go ahead and place this one. Oh, this is a tough spot. So let's put it here and see how that goes. That'll be 5 coins. Now, if I wanted to right now, I could go ahead and spend a coin in order to refresh the shop, bringing 3 new cards into here because there's nothing to discard, and also have 5 coins left over to buy something else if I wanted to, which may not be a horrible idea. But at the same time, I could just hold on to the coins for the next time around. So I think, what I'm generating a lot of right now is coins, not necessarily anything that's going to progress me further. So let's actually go ahead and do a shop refresh for 1, and that's going to allow me to bring 3 new cards down. Let's see if we get something that can kind of progress us in a different way. Ooh, there's a scroll. This allows me to set a die to a 2. That sounds incredible. This one here is a 7 coin cost. I can't even afford that, but that gives me extra reroll. So that's the unfortunate thing about refreshing this, is that you might get things you can't even afford. I can only go after this or this. Now remember, from the very beginning of setup, I had a +5 to score scroll. These scrolls are one-time use things, so I can use this at any time to get +5. But if I was to purchase this at any time, I could get another +5. That could be really beneficial in a situation where I can't reroll my way out of a bad situation. I'm not progressing fast enough. Could be huge. I could also go ahead with this for 2, which is a little bit cheaper than 5, in order to set a die to 2. So the question is, which one is more worth it? Tough call. But honestly, as the game goes on, I could kind of see this being very beneficial. So let's go ahead and take this one here, and having 2 of these will certainly come in handy. With our shopping now done, we'll go to advancing, resetting everything we need to tokens-wise, scoring tracker-wise. We're also going to be going to another chapter card up top, so that's going to have us going to a different point in terms of what we're trying to aim for, and also a new boss card to be drawn. Welcome to chapter number 2, round number 1. We got ourselves set for a marked score of 10. Our tracker's on 0 at the moment. I've also moved things over a little bit here in this tableau area, so we have room for an extra equipment card right here. 4 at this top row. 3 is allowed in here, then 2, then 1. Time tokens ready to go. We've got lots of reroll tokens to use, which is fantastic. The one thing I will mention going into this is that we do get to activate at the start of the round our wonderful torch, giving us 3 coins to start off. I've got my 3 coins. I've got a new boss card here as well, so let's take a close look at this. It says you may not re-roll the green die. So unfortunately, we are no longer able to re-roll Sadie's die at all, which is rough because we have lots of re-roll tokens, but this boss effect is going to mess with us when we get to the 3rd round. So we don't have to worry about it right now, but it will become a problem later on. Let's make a roll and see if we can get off the hop here for this round in chapter number 2. First die in is a 2, not bad, a 1, and finally a 1, a pretty good start. And we also got a reroll token in there too. Now that is a result of 4, and I'm happy to actually cash that in and stop right there. So we'll gain ourselves a reroll token, which gives us another 1. We'll have to go ahead and exchange things in order to put some more single reroll tokens up here. There are 3s. It's worth mentioning inventory-wise of tokens. Once you run out of tokens, you can't take any more, but you can cash in, trade things in to convert things. So I'm going to do that in a second. I've already taken the 1 I just gained off the die there. We got 4, which I've moved myself up 4, but also for a result of 4 over here, there is a mushroom, a single mushroom, that's going to push us up to 5, which is awesome, and that will be spoiled. We now check for any wands in the lane that we're inside of. So we're inside the 4 lane. There is no wand here, so we don't get any benefit from there. Eventually, we'll have a wand come out and sitting in a lane that actually triggers based on our die result. Hasn't happened yet. Now we trigger pickaxes, which can be in any of the lanes at this point, as long as their effect actually corresponds to what's going on. So this one here does 2 coins whenever you score 2 dice the same face value, and we have 2 1s up there. Now you might be thinking, well, one of those ones has a potion effect next to it and the other one doesn't, so they are not exactly the same. All that matters is that the actual value is the same. So we do get 2 coins. So I'm going to go ahead and take the 3 that I have, put them in here and gain a 5, essentially just converting that out. So I got 5 coins now, which is nice. This does not trigger. I've already triggered this in the start of the round, and this one also doesn't trigger right now. For the first roll, that is pretty solid. We got halfway to our goal, so not bad. Let's continue to push and see where we end up here. Next die in is going to be a face value. This one is a 0, not good, and a 2, barely getting that 2 at the end. Now I'm doing a bit of examining of the dice to see which one would be the better one to essentially re-roll. It doesn't look like the purple one would be. I think going here for Sadie would be best to re-roll. Again, we are allowed to re-roll this because we're in round number 1. In round number 3, we won't be able to based on the boss effect. So right now I'm going to spend 1 re-roll potion in order to re-roll her to see if I can get an additional 1 out of her die, and I do, and I get a coin on top of it. So 3 is not bad, and I could continue to use reroll potions if I want to try to bump this up even further as well. So there's that option as well. I might want to actually get myself even further. So this will get me to 8, which is pretty close. Can't guarantee. I mean, again, I got lots of reroll potions to work with, but there's no harm in actually trying to reroll this and maybe matching things up on top of it. So let's use another reroll potion, and we will roll for this one here. This is Gary's. There we go. So that ends up being a lot more successful. We got ourselves up to 9, which is great. And in terms of what we get off the dice, that's 1 gold there. We also have 2 numerical 1s. So that is going to trigger this again, which means we get 3 gold. Just to make life easier, I'm going to put these scrolls up here as well as the coins right here so you can see what is gained and lost as I go through gameplay more easily. We're certainly on track. Let's keep pushing and see if we can get the 1 we need to keep on going through this deep journey. We got ourselves lots of high rolls here, 4 total. Absolutely love that. We're going to lock it in at 4, which is great. Again, nothing off the mushrooms, but we do get a coin off that one, and there are 2 that match. That'll be 3 coins. So after resolving all of that, that's going to do it for my 3 turns, and we definitely made the mark, actually passed way by it. Reward-wise, I gave myself 3 more coins, which is great, and we're now going to go ahead and do interest. Again, we can collect based on whether we're talking about coins or potions in terms of what we're after. I've got 3 sets of 3 for potions, which means I give myself 3 coins, which will certainly give me buying power going into the shop phase. So let's go ahead with that. We'll add 3 in, we'll take 2 out, and that'll give us a 5. So we got 17 coins going into shopping. Let's find out what the shopkeeper has for us. What an awesome mix of cards yet again. This is getting very fortunate. I don't have to go ahead and refresh this shop because these are coming out pretty good. So this one here is 3 coins, and it's going to give me a 1 die or plus 1 on a die face with 2 coins gained. That's huge for 3. That's not bad. That'll pay back pretty fast, I think. 5 coins here at the start of the round. We gain a reroll token. That's also nice. Would stack really nicely with my coins at the start of the round. This is the first wand we've seen. They're expensive. It's 7. It says when this result scores, which means you have to actually be on that exact result with your total score. Then you get +2 for each face up time. So basically, when you score the exact result, if you've got a lot of time not taken up, you haven't flipped them over to their X side, then you're going to really net yourself some serious extra points with this wand. Now, the crazy thing about this decision is where it should go, because wherever the wand goes, the result has to trigger on that row for the wand to be useful. So 2 to 3 is probably where I sit right now on average based on the faces of my dice, but I have been rolling quite a bit of 4 results, and I'll probably tick up to 5 in the future as I get rid of more zeros. So I'm actually going to lean a little bit more into this, which might be a mistake, but we'll see how it goes. So it's going to be 7 coins taken away for that one, but I think it's a great item. Next, I'm going to go ahead and take this one here for 5 coins, giving me a reroll potion at the start of every round. That's going to give me 3 reroll potions every single chapter. That should really come in beneficial as we go along. And then finally, this is for 3 coins. I can purchase this one as well, leaving me with 2 afterwards, and we'll upgrade the purple die for Gary. I've got 2 coins remaining after that purchase, so this card is going to go away. We're gaining this side of the die to Gary's dice. We have to decide which side we want it on. So we got a 0 with a potion, a 1, a 2. There's a 1 over here and a 0. I think we'll get rid of a 0 because that'll kind of inch my overall average up to where the wand is, which will be beneficial overall. So we'll pop that 0 out, and Gary is a little more useful now with his die. Let's begin round number 2 of chapter 2. It is worth mentioning, you'll notice that things are incrementing slowly here across the rounds to start. But once we get into further chapters, the distance on this thing starts to widen even further. And if you're flipping over to the advanced side and playing on a harder difficulty, how fast this marker is moving down the track is even rougher. So you're really going to have to stay on top of things to chase that thing down and not have your expedition end in failure. Let's trigger our torch effects here. So we've got a start of round 3 coins. That'll turn this into a 5, and then we get 1 reroll token. I'm loving those start of round effects. We got ourselves 5 coins now and 10 rerolls. Let's go ahead and send those dice down the tower and see whether we get some decent results. We got ourselves a face value there, not so great. Another one, and oh my gosh, we got 1 of every single one, and that is actually, if I leave that alone, although this could be bad for me because I'm not progressing it all through here, it would trigger this, giving me 5 coins, which is nice. But that would really set me back from trying to accomplish getting all the way over to here. So this is kind of a scary roll to get for the very first one. As much as I'd love to get more coins, I'm not that greedy and I want to make progress. Let's go ahead and spend 1 reroll token. And usually when I'm just spending 1, I don't bother moving up the marker because I know that I'm not going to use another one. But in this case, it looks like I might be using another one in the future. So I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that's updated. So the next time I go ahead and reroll, if I do inside of this round, it's going to be 2. So we're going to go ahead and reroll. I think it was this one here that had 2 2s. Yeah, let's go with the red one and see if we can get one of those 2s to land. A 1, but that's still better than nothing. Now I'm going to go ahead and spend another 2 to reroll yet again here, and that is going to get me another reroll. So which one is the best to use in this case? I'm going to probably go with, I think Gary's has 2 2s. No, it doesn't. Neither one of them. So it's only the red one that does. The green one gives me more net effects. Tough call. But I think I upgraded Gary's. I think Gary has the extra side that's no longer a 0. So let's go with this one because it's the upgraded die. And look at that. So I could stop here, or I could choose to go ahead and spend 3 reroll potions. You can see how fast these start to disappear. I mean, now I've only got 7 left in order to reroll this one to make more progress. But right now I've only got 2. I just don't feel like that's enough. I don't feel like that's enough at all. And I would love to get up to that wand value. Oh, it would be nice, but the chance of that hitting is pretty low right now. So I think I'm just going to probably, this is rough. This is very, very rough. Do I take this value? Because if I just take 2, I'm not getting any mushrooms off this whatsoever. And then I'm really trying to get a big result to get up there. I just don't know if it's the right time to do the rerolls or not. This is rough. I just don't think the chances are very high I'm going to land the 2 on this one, which is why I don't want to do this. So let's go ahead and just take the 2. We'll commit that. We'll gain the 2 coins. But because I have 2 faces that are the same numerically, I get another 2 coins thanks to the pickaxe over there. So it's actually 4 coins. So I've got myself 9 coins. I also had to correct the score track because I bumped it over to the 3 and it should have been a 2. I had 2 1s, and that's as far as I got. No mushrooms involved. We're going to go ahead now and roll for the next one. So I've already gone ahead and flipped the time marker over as we go into this next roll. And I'm hoping to land the wand because the wand is more valuable the more of these time tokens are face up. They give +2 for each face up time token. So it would have been nice to get 4 to 5 on the prior roll, but the chance of it and also just burning tons of reroll tokens at 3 apiece each time, not worth it in my opinion. Let's see if we can make it happen off this second attempt here. So we got ourselves a 1 to start. Not bad. Another one that almost showed a 0. Come on, get a 2, get a 2, get a 2, get a 2. Okay, close. Not too bad. Now, again, I'm aggressively going for that wand. So we're going to go ahead and re-roll the red one here because it has 2 2s on it. And that's what I'm hoping with a 33% chance that I'm going to land it. So here we go. Yes. And that's what I like to see. I've also updated this thing here just in case I happen to re-roll anything further, which I probably will not because I'm very happy with that roll. So that's going to be 4 right there. That'll jump me up 1, 2, 3, and 4. I gain a coin off that. We also have 2 1s, which is going to trigger this. So I gain 3 coins. Now with that all updated, we take a look at the wand right here, and it states right here, when this result scores, +2 for each face-up time token. As of right now, these two are face-up. This does not flip over until the very end of the adventure turn, and that's not happening right now. It's happening, the wand results happen first, so that is going to net me 4 additional points of movement along here. And that was a massive jump. Now, I always have my +5 to score, and I've actually got 2 of them that can help me get over that hump, but there might be certain situations where I roll really poorly, and I'm going to have to use those if I don't land my wand the way it's situated. Let's go into the final attempt now. So I've gone ahead and flipped over a time token. I've also reset my reroll counter back to 1. We've got one more attempt to get to our 12 target. Let's see if we can do it. Here we go. Down, we got a 0. That is not going to help us. We got a missed die roll, which is not good. We're going to go with a 2. There we go. We got what we needed there, and a 1 with some coins. So we'll just take it as it is, 3 with 2 coins. And that's going to do it. We have met the mark for round number 2 of chapter 2. We're going to gain 5 coins. Now, we also have to make a decision as to whether we want to, during the interest check here, gain some potions or go for coins. I've got quite a bit of coins. I think I'm going to go for potions because we burnt through a bunch and I can see how valuable they can be, especially when the cost goes up really high. So I'm able to get, if I remember correctly, it's for every 5 coins I get a potion. So I've got 1, 2, 3, and just missed out on a 4th one, but 3 is pretty solid. So that'll bring us back to 9 there, which is great. On to the shop phase we go. Let's go ahead and reveal the 3 cards and see what we have. We got ourselves another wand here in the shop for 3 gold. It says when this result scores, also use mushrooms from the row below. So remember, we have a couple mushrooms in row 6. So putting this in row 4 to 5 with the other wand would actually be beneficial for pulling those mushrooms back up. Here, this one actually adds mushrooms to the row where my wand is. That also makes that whole row even more powerful. And this one says gain a card from the shop for nothing. So I spent a gold in order to gain a free card from the shop. I'm choosing to take the wand, which I'm going to situate right with the wand I've got in the 4 or 5 layer, which is perfect, and it doesn't cost me anything. I've also spent 2 coins just now in order to pick this one up. So row 4 to 5 here is going to get 2 mushrooms. And then it also states here on the pickaxe, whenever a row gains mushrooms from a consumable item, bag item like this, it gains an additional mushroom. So 3 mushrooms right here, and this card is discarded. So now I've really turned my 4 to 5 layer into a powerhouse row that can really get me moving on the track. Now I'm going to go ahead and refresh the shop at this point. Discarding cards are in here, but there isn't any in here. So I'll take the 1 in order to do the refresh, allowing me to draw 3 new cards. And of course, we'll update the tracker in the bottom left, which you can't see. It's just off screen. But here are the 3 new cards coming off the deck. Lots of pickaxes from every single deck. That's pretty crazy. So we got one here that says, whenever mushrooms would be destroyed from this row, destroy a card as well. Ooh, discard one of the equipment cards. That's interesting. This one says you gain a reroll whenever you score. The doubles are the same. And this one is +3 to each roll with doubles. That is nuts. So I picked up the pickaxe on the far right, so it's going to give me +3 to each roll that has matching face values. I think that'll come in handy like crazy. This one here, just so you guys understand, it says whenever the mushrooms would be destroyed from the row that this pickaxe is inside of, instead you can destroy an equipment item in here to keep the mushrooms. So that actually is really beneficial, especially if you like storing up mushrooms in a particular layer. So this actually could be really good. I don't have enough room in this layer anymore. It's completely filled up. I have 1 space here and I have 1 space here, but I don't have any major built up mushrooms. It could be good. It really could be, depending on how I build things out. If I continue to build from 6 and use it in 4 or 5, maybe it actually would be kind of beneficial to place this one down here to kind of protect whatever mushrooms I build up in here. It's just interesting because I don't know how often I'll be able to kind of keep this up, but maybe let's go with it. It might be a shot in the dark, but let's go ahead and spend 7 and actually pick it up. In the advanced step, we'll go ahead and reset all the trackers and get ready to go into round number 3. Round number 3 of chapter number 2 is the boss round for chapter 2, and that means the effect on the very top of the card is now going to come at us. And this one says that we may not re-roll the green die during this round. So we'll place it over here just to remember that. And to begin round number 3, we gain our 3 coins from the torch up here on the left, and then on the right, we gain a potion. So I've gained those to both those spaces. We got 10 potions, and we've got 4 coins up there. We're ready to roll the dice and see how our first roll lands. We'll start with the red one, hoping for good things. We got ourselves a 1. Next up is going to be green with a 1, and finally purple for 1. Now I want to make use of this row right here for the wand, so let's go ahead and re-roll the red one here for 1. I think it's worth it jumping this up. We'll use the free one we just got moments ago and hopefully see a 2 on this. Yes. Absolutely perfect for a number of reasons. So we'll go ahead and score the 4, which will jump us up to the 4 position. We gain 3 coins off the effects of the dice, and we gain 2 more coins because we score with 2 of equal value. So it's going to be 5 coins coming into our pool, which is great. Now we're going to check out the mushrooms on 4 to 5 result because we landed a 4. We've got 3 mushrooms. We'll spoil 1. That's 3 additional points, bringing us to 7. And now we trigger the wands on this result, and we have 2 of them. It says when this result scores +2 for each face-up time token. We've got 3 of them, so it's going to be 6. It's going to jump us all the way to 13 that quickly, which is amazing. And then it says down here, we can also use a mushroom from below if we want, or use mushrooms from below if we want. This one says also use from below. So again, the question is, whether we want to. I don't believe you have to in this case because it says also use, almost as if you could. I don't know. You might be forced to do it because the way the game kind of states is it almost seems mandatory to use mushrooms normally, but it kind of says it in a way that makes me seem like you can choose when you want to go down there. So I'm going to choose not to. I take that back. I did a quick check in the rule book, and it seems like when you use mushrooms, whenever it states the word use, you have to use them. So in this case, because there are mushrooms down below, this one will actually use mushrooms from below. So that means at this moment when we're activating wands, after the initial mushroom usage inside of 3, 4 is going to trigger yet again, but now we're pulling from down here. So that's 2 and 1 is spoiled. So we go 2 up, and that's actually going to take us beyond where we need to go. And we've literally completed round number 3 of chapter 2 in one single game turn, which is absolutely wild. Now, it is worth mentioning that based on the order of operations, you'd score pickaxes at this point. I kind of cashed in on the coins at the same time as I'm taking coin effects off the dice. So technically, you would do it right now, and you go left to right across the rows. So basically, this would trigger give me 2 coins, which I already took. But this also would trigger give me an additional +3 to my roll. So really, this actually bumps me even further down the path. In any case, I am well beyond where I need to be, which is fantastic. We have completed the 3rd round of chapter number 2, and we can get ready for chapter number 3. But first, let's just continue on with what we do next, and that is going to be gaining the reward. So we get our discovery card, we get to shop. Let's find out what the discovery card is right now. I'm excited about that. We got ourselves this. It says gain 7 coins or gain the top card of 3 decks in play for nothing. Now, it makes this actually really tough deciding which way we should go. The bottom seems like the best. However, when you gain cards from the shop, you have to slot them in, and you might have to destroy equipment if you don't have the slots necessary to hold them all. I've only got 1 more open slot, which would mean 2 of the cards, well, it depends on what types of cards come out, but if they were all equipment cards with the gear symbol, I would have to destroy other equipment cards to make room for all of them to fit inside of my grid. That could actually cause me problems if there's certain ones I really enjoy leveraging and I like what I have right now, but that's the fun part of the game. Or I can go the safe route and just take 7 coins, giving me the option to select exactly what I want in the future. And to be completely honest, as greedy as taking 3 cards would be, I'm going to hold off because I like the grid I've got here. I'm going to go ahead and just take the 7 coins. I might regret that, but we'll see how it goes. With my reward gained, let's now go to interest, and in either case, whether I choose coins or I choose potions, it would be 3 or 3 based on the sets that I have. So I'm going to go ahead and take 3 potions. And now we get to go ahead and do our shop for the end of the round. Let's go ahead and see what we get. We got ourselves a consumable here. It says +1 mushroom to a row of your choice. That's pretty good for 2 coins. This one here is a die face change of +1 with a reroll potion for 2. Not bad. And then another one. Ooh, 2 of them. I definitely want to start getting rid of some of those 0-faced icons, and I think this will certainly help me do that. So let's just double check for the green die and the red die. Do I have those on the dice? Yes, I have 0s, 2 of them on the green die, and on the red die, I've got no 0s. So the question is, will a 1 really benefit me at all? I don't know. I really don't know. So maybe I'll hold off on the red one. I'll go for the green one because that will help me up to kind of push me towards the 4-5 result overall. And then we'll take this one on the left as well. So paying 2 here gives me +1 mushroom to a row of my choice. I'm going to choose to place it on the wand row here, which is nice. And also my pickaxe here says whenever a row gains a mushroom from one of the consumable bag items here, it gains an additional mushroom, which is where this one's coming from, to give me 4 mushrooms in this area. Now let's spend 2 more coins in order to upgrade the face of a die here, and I know exactly what I want off the green die. So first let's find the one that actually corresponds to what we're upgrading, which is this one right here. And we're going to go ahead and knock off one of the 0 sides to kind of up the value of this die over time, which should be really beneficial, and that's perfect. So at this point, I've upgraded a single side of every die in play, and I'm going to go ahead and actually spend one right now in order to refresh this area. So we're going to spend a gold coin. We're going to uptick the tracker for the shop and refresh what is there to see what else we could possibly get. So that means this one's getting discarded, and let's see what we get off the top here. So we got a pickaxe. We got ourselves a wand. Not bad. Ooh, that's pretty good. And another wand. 2 wands. Now this pickaxe here is 7, says plus a potion whenever any amount of mushrooms are destroyed. Not bad. This one here is 7, and it says when this result scores, you're going to get +1 per every 3 reroll tokens you have. That is definitely good for me because I currently have 4. That would certainly be a nice benefit to put into any row, and I do have 1 space available. That might be the right one to go for. And this one says you're actually going to do the opposite of the one I actually have, which says when the result scores, you get +2 for each time that's been consumed. So this actually helps you as time kind of crunches down on you and you're actually looking to try and, steer things in the positive direction. Now, in a perfect world, I would love to be able to pick up both of these wands and actually maybe turf this one and get one wand into here and the other wand into my other slot here. But I don't have enough money. I only have 11, so that's not going to work out the way I wanted to. So I'm probably going to go for this one here, and I'm going to situate it in the final slot that I have right here, which I think will be really beneficial. So we'll go ahead and spend 10, giving myself 3 back, so we only have 4 remaining. But we're going to gain some at the start of the next round anyway, so we'll have lots of coins there. And I can't afford anything else. So that'll be the end of shopping for me. And with that, let's go ahead and reset all the trackers and also get a brand new chapter card out and reveal the next boss card. Welcome to chapter number 3, and we've got 3 rounds to get through, 17, 20, and 23. So we've got a 17 set. Our marker is at 0. We are full up on all equipment slots being filled at the moment. All the trackers are reset. We don't know what the boss effect's going to be for round number 3, but let's find out right now. See what it is. Should be interesting. Top one off is going to be, oh no, do not score 1s. That is bad. I've got a lot of 1s on those cards. Now this will not affect me until we get to the 3rd round, but that will certainly make that one a lot tougher. Starter round effects are going to trigger, which is going to give me 3 coins as well as 1 new reroll potion. Let's go ahead and roll those dice and see what we get for our very first round inside of chapter number 3. We got ourselves a 1, which again will be a problem in round 3, but right now it's A-okay. We got ourselves a 2, that's pretty solid. And finally a 1, we landed 4, which is our best result. So we'll score this, jumping ourselves up to 4 on the track. We'll be taking a potion, which is awesome. And at this point, we're going to take a look and see what we've triggered. So over here, we're going to look at the mushrooms first. There's 4 of them here. So that's going to give us a 4 boost. We're going to spoil one of them, jumping us up to 8, which is pretty solid. And then we're going to go ahead and take a look at the wand. So this one says +2 for each face-up time. So it's 2, 2, and 2 for 6. That's going to jump us 2, 2, and 2, just like that. The next wand here says also use the mushrooms from below. There's only 1. This is now gone, and we go 1 additional spot. We are almost all the way there already. Next up is the pickaxes, and we take a look up top here. This one here says we're going to gain 2 coins off of having 2 1s there, so not bad. We'll go ahead and grab 2 coins, and then below that it says we're going to get +3 to each roll when we have a set of 2 identical. So that's going to be another 3, jumping us to 18. And just like that, with 1 time, we have gone ahead and completed that round. So I've gained 3 coins for the reward, which is awesome. And our interest is now going to activate. We still don't have any pig cards inside of our grid here, but we can now choose to go ahead and gain things based on what we're looking for. I'm probably looking for money, I think, more than anything else. So based on what we have here for potions, we're going to gain 1, 2, 3, 4 coins up there. Not bad. So we'll go ahead and just exchange 1 out for a 5. And we've got 16 going into the shop phase. Now, before we go on, I just want to make a correction that I talked about on screen. Back when it happened, the pickaxe was planted in this row when there was 2 mushrooms here, and then we went a little bit further, and this wand triggered the mushrooms here 1 time, which means we got 2 points, and normally you would spoil, or actually the word is not spoil, it's destroy a mushroom from here, but it says here whenever a mushroom would be destroyed from this row, instead you destroy a equipment. So this would have actually been destroyed instead, and then there still would have been 2 mushrooms here, which means for this last turn I just went through, there would have been 2 mushrooms here, giving me 2 points instead of 1. So we're actually up to 19 on the grid, which doesn't change anything. We're still well past where we need to be. But the important thing is there should still be a mushroom here, as 1 would get destroyed now, leaving 1 remaining, and I also got an empty slot here. With that settled and out of the way, let's go to the shopping stage, and let's go ahead and see what we get for shopping items. We got ourselves a 1 with a potion, 1 with a coin, and finally a wand. When this result scores +4, that's pretty awesome too. Now these are perfect. I'm going to take the wand here and place it in the bottom row, which I love, for an extra +4 if we land the high result there. I'm going to use both of these to uptick the purple and the green die to get those zeros away. So for the green one here, we'll go ahead and bump it up from a 0 to a 1 with a coin. Now for the purple one, unfortunately, I don't have any more of the required faces in this prototype in order to bump it to a 1 with a potion. So I'll just go ahead. I could use a 1 and a coin to kind of make it fair, but I'll just go with a 1 to make it even fairer. So basically, I'm just going to choose to go ahead and remove this one right here. It's kind of a little bit less of a jump for me than anything, but it will numerically bump me up. There just wasn't enough of this type of symbol in the tray of the prototype to be able to make that happen. That won't be an issue in the final game. And with the shopping now done, I don't want to spend my 5 coins. I'll hold on to those. We're going to go ahead and reset everything going into round number 2 of chapter 3. Let's start round number 2 of chapter 3. We need 20 to be successful, and we'll go ahead right now and trigger our torches. So +3 for coins and 1 more potion. Let's go ahead and make our very first roll, trying to get up to 20 this time. This is going to get harder and harder, even with all the bonuses we have over here. So we got a 1 with a coin. We got ourselves a 1 with 2 coins, and finally a 2. So we've hit the 4 yet again. So my average by far seems to be landing the exact spot I wanted to, because it triggers the most benefit for me. This is amazing. So we're going to go with a 2, 1, 1, which is 4 total. So that'll jump us up to a 4. We're going to gain 3 coins. We'll go ahead and exchange 2 out to get a 5. That'll handle the coins and the dice. So they're all done. Now we're going to go ahead and move to the mushrooms here, which is here. So this is going to have us getting 3 from here, and we'll destroy one of these mushrooms. So it's going to be another 3 jumping up the track. Sorry, wrong spot there. So it's going to be 7. Our mark here is 20, so we're good there. And then we're going to go ahead and have the wands trigger, so 2 for each face up of these, which is amazing. So literally 6 yet again. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 13, which is incredible. I love that wand. And then this one here says use the mushrooms below. So we'll destroy the one we have down here for an additional 1, which is incredible. This one does not trigger because it has to be this result that actually gets triggered to trigger that wand. But now we can go to the pickaxes at the very top. So we have 2 1s. So we score 2 coins right now. 2 1s being from the dice there. It's going to be 1 here, 1 here. We didn't get 3. We don't gain this. We do get this, a +3 to each roll with 2 of the same value. So it's an additional 3. So 1, 2, 3. We're now up to 17. And we did not score this, so the wand doesn't matter. And that's it. So that's a major jump forward, which is awesome. We're going to go ahead into our second attempt here, rolling dice to try to get to 20. We are very, very much on our way here. So let's see how it goes for the next roll. And at this point, just making sure I didn't miss anything. We didn't do any re-rolls. We flipped the time token. We're good to go. So we got ourselves a 1 with a potion, a 2, and that's probably enough right there. There's the 4 yet again. Now here's where things get interesting. I don't want to trigger this one more time and use up all of that movement at this moment. I'd rather re-roll the red die in order to try to knock it down a bit because we don't need that much. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use a potion right now in order to re-roll the red one and hope to get something a little bit lower. No. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and uptick this. I'm going to do 2, getting 1. I'm going to spend 2 of the 3 here to re-roll again. Try and attempt to bring this down to a 1. There we go. Perfect. That'll work, and actually gives me back the potion as well. But this with a 3 allows me to get right to where I want to be to meet the mark, which is perfect without having to trigger this right here. The 3 is the one that actually gets hit here. But first, let's go ahead and gather the 2 reroll tokens, which is awesome. And then we take a look at this result right here, and we check for mushrooms. There are none. We check for pickaxes. And of course, we have actually 3 of the same kind. So this one says whenever you score 2 of the same kind, you get this. 3 of the same kind is this. I don't think you get to stack them. I could be wrong, but I believe that that is taken as one sole full set of 3. So I'd only get the 5 coins off that one. I don't think I'd be able to double down and get both. I could be wrong on that. It would be incredible if that was true. I think once you use 3 that are the same for one effect, you can't just double it down on the other one. So we won't do that. And then pickaxes here doesn't matter. This will actually, and I assume that that doesn't work either because it needs to be exactly 2, and that is 3. So we're done with the pickaxes. We didn't have anything for wands anyway, so it didn't even, oh, that's not true. We did have a wand. Ooh, shoot. We should have done the wand first. Sorry, guys. So the wand would have happened first, then the pickaxes. The wand would have been 1 per 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 dishes. So we're flying way past at this point. But again, strategy-wise, the key reason I was trying to re-roll things and bring it back down to this lane was that I was not going to trigger this lane, which just really uses up a lot of really good movement I'm going to probably need later on. So I've gone ahead and gained 5 coins for the rewards for round number 2, and we're going to shop, but just before we do, we'll go ahead and do our interest. So which way do we want to go here? So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's pretty solid. So we'll go with that, giving ourselves 3, because it's going to be very costly to re-roll as much as I'm going to probably need to re-roll my ones away because I've got a lot of them. So this should certainly help us out. Now from the shop, here's what we got for options. It says this wand is 7. When this result scores, you get +2 mushrooms to another row. That's actually really cool. Makes me almost want to think about blowing away a particular item in order to get that in pairing with the combination I've got here. This one I don't need as much per se, but it's pretty good. This one's great. I might actually go for that one for sure just to get the +3 because, I mean, you can never have too many of those to be able to use in a dire situation, so I'll definitely take that. I'm thinking about destroying something. During your shop phase, you can destroy anything from the equipment that you have here, and then everything else just shifts left in the row that you destroyed it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to destroy, and I want to put the wand like this because it says +2 to another row for mushrooms. So maybe if I roll and land, a lower result based on not being able to use ones, this can help me get really good results out of the 4 to 5, and I can keep leaning into that very heavily. So maybe what I'll do is, this is tough. It's tough to know which one I should discard. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and discard this one here, and that's going to have this go away. Again, it's destroying it really. And then this is going to all shuffle down like so, and I'll take the new one, which I'm going to purchase for 7 and place it in here. And that's going to cost me the 7. So we'll drop our 10 down to 3. And that will get that situated. And I think that will lean nicely into my strategy here. I think that's all I want to do at the moment, but I might want to explore more of the shop maybe. So maybe what we'll do, actually this should be reset now to 0. We'll go ahead and discard this. We'll pay 1 in order to reset the shop so I can see what else is here. Here we go. It was worth it. There is a 2 that came out. I definitely want that. So we're going to go ahead and spend these 2 coins to grab this. And from the purple die here, we'll pop off one of the ones because there's no more zeros on this die. And then we'll go ahead and just slot that in. It'll make the overall average better and better chances of getting up to the numbers I want to see. So we paid 2 for that. That can go in the discard. And we've made that die better. Now, I think what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and take this one and actually get rid of one of these ones that generate me money. I've actually got more money being generated than I need, and I'd rather have additions to scoring, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to place this in here. So I'm going to destroy this double one here, which might sound crazy because the chance of getting 3 of the same or less, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. This will go in here. Everything else will shuffle down, and then I'm going to take this one for 3. That'll fill up that slot. I don't think I'll take this, although this is pretty good because it would make the face. This is one of those ones that actually you haven't seen so far. But first, let's pay for what I just did, getting 2 back. It is worth mentioning this one is pretty good from the standpoint it makes all the face icons on the dice that have not had any purpose for now actually have a gaining of the potions, which is actually not a bad thing. So let's go ahead and trash this one, move that over. We'll throw that there. We're going to pay 3 for this one. And that might actually give me kind of a nice little change up in terms of how things go. So now we're only gaining 3 coins at the beginning of every single round. We're no longer gaining that free mana, but I think it'll come back based on those. Let's move on to advancing, which heads us into Chapter 3, Round 3. Round 3, Chapter 3, the boss round. And now the effects here on this card, the Miffed card at the very top in blue is going to come into play, so do not score 1s. The effects of like coins and other potions that you can get still apply. You still get those, but you don't get the actual 1 value themselves. You're not going to be able to score that 1 value. So from now, we are going to roll some dice. Now, I've already taken my 3 coins for start of the round just moments ago, so I'm up to 7 there. And we need to get to 23 to beat this boss in chapter number 3. So wish me luck, because not having ones will make this much more difficult than it's been so far. So let's see how things go. First one is a 1. That's going to be a problem out of the gates. Next one is a face. That's not helpful. And a 2. Okay, the 2 is good. We're going to go ahead and spend a reroll token here. We're going to push this up by 1. And we're going to reroll this one here first. Okay, not bad, but the ones again are useless for me. So we're going to have to push this even further. So we're going to go ahead and spend 2 of them here in order to re-roll this one. Come on. All right. Oh, no, it's back to a 1. This is the die that I'm banking on that'll help me. So I'm going to spend 3 now, which is very costly, and it never goes above 3 at this point. Every reroll after that is going to just be 3 endlessly. There we go. Okay, so we got 2 2s. We can't use the 1, but I still get the coin. So basically, we'll commit a 4 value here, which does trigger the row I wanted to see, which is nice. It cost me quite a bit on the reroll tokens, but that's going to be 4 on the track. So we'll jump ourselves up to 4 here. We'll gain a coin. And for mushrooms, we had 2 here. I just destroyed one just now to gain 2 points, jumping me up to 6, and we got 1 mushroom left. And now we're going to check for the wand results, which is right here. This one says +2 for each face-up time token. We've got 3 of those, so that's an additional 6, jumping us up to 12, which is awesome. I'm loving that wand. Next one here says also use the mushrooms from the row below, but there are none. So this will no longer be helpful until we can replenish that area. Unfortunately, now we can move on to the pickaxes. Going to across the top here, this does not trigger. This does not trigger. This one here doesn't trigger. This one is going to trigger because we have 2 2s. So that's going to be +3. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, which is not bad. These, nothing else. That's it. Time has been spent. Let's go ahead and roll the rest of the dice going into our second time token. First die is going to be a 1, not helpful. Second die is a 1, not helpful. And a 1. So all kinds of 1s. And here's where we get into trouble. So if we can't score these ones, we have to re-roll them. Now into this round, I should say this is reset as it does right here. It says always to reset the reroll at the beginning of the adventure turn. So we are at 1 right now. So we're going to spend 1 potion to reroll one of these. I'll reroll the red one because the 2 2s are in there. Yes. Okay, good. Now if I want to reroll something else, let's go with I think the purple one has 2 2s. You can see there. So that's actually a pretty good die now. So let's go ahead and spend 2 potions because that's what it costs now for the next reroll. This will jump up to 3 and we'll reroll this one. Okay, so that did not work out. Now, if we want to re-roll this even further, which I kind of do, because again, I want to get to that 4 to 5, unless I want to think that I can actually... Oh, no, because the 1's not going to be helpful. I do have to re-roll this. Oh, see, this is what I mean. The potions, I had such a huge quantity of them. It looked like that was a pretty solid amount, but see how fast they disappear when you have a nasty boss effect like this? Pretty crazy. So let's roll this one again. Oh, no. Okay, so that's not good. Now, the question is, do I want to keep burning these? Like right now, I don't know if I want to burn anymore. So maybe I'll stop. We can't score the 1s. I'm going to take the 2, and that's about it. So it's going to jump me up by 2. I'm going to get the coin here because the effect of the coin still happens. You just don't score the actual 1 itself. Now, my result lands in this row right here, which doesn't have any mushrooms, but looking for wands next, it does have a wand, and it says you get +1 for every 3 potions you have, so that's 2. So now we jumped up to 19, not bad. And then this one says you get +2 mushrooms to another row, so that's awesome. We're going to put them exactly where we've been landing for the most part right here to really use those in the future, although I could technically, it has to be another row, can't be this one. So I'll put it here because we seem to land here more often than not. So that's pretty good. Pickaxes now. This doesn't trigger. This doesn't trigger. This doesn't trigger. This one doesn't trigger either because, again, we cannot use... it's kind of a weird thing. I don't think I'm allowed to use the +3 in a situation where I'm not scoring the 2 numeric 1s. I don't think that I'd be able to take advantage of the fact that those faces are the same because I'm not scoring. I could be wrong on that, but I'm going to play it that way just so I'm not kind of abusing it. I'd rather play harder than easier, at least until I can clarify that. And then no more pickaxes after that. So we've got one more roll to try to make it to the mark here. So I need 4 to make it. Let's see how we do off the first roll. So the first die through is going to be a face value. Next up is another face value. And finally a 2. Okay, so the 2 is good. Not bad there. Let's go ahead and re-roll one of the face values here. So we'll take 2 potions back here. And we're going to uptick the tracker by 1. We're going to re-roll the red one because that's the one that also has 2, although technically this one does 2. Okay, that's no good. Not good. Now it's going to cost 2 potions to re-roll that. Ugh, don't like that at all. Let's keep fishing here. There we go. Okay, so we got the 4 we need. That is probably more than enough at this point because it needs to be anything but a 1 to make progress. And that's the 4, which is perfect because we get some benefits here through this. So for the scoring there, we're going to get 1, 2, 3, and 4, which lands us on the mark, which is great news. Not being able to score 1s has been a pain, but we somehow got through it. And so scoring that, the next thing we're going to check for is any coins. We get nothing, no coins or potions off the dice. We also have the mushrooms here. So they're going to unfortunately trigger this crazy row right now, which means we're destroying a mushroom, but getting 3 right now. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3. The wand here is going to be 2 for each face up time token. We only have 1, so it'll jump up by 2. And then this one uses mushrooms from below, but there are none, so we're done there. Pickaxe wise, nothing from this, nothing from this. Face one here gives us +1 potion, which is nice because we had 1 purple one up there. And then pickaxe here, this one actually gives us +3 to the roll, so technically that would actually jump us up to 31 as well. And that would do it. So we were well past that. So this combination I've created here has definitely harnessed some serious movement very early on in the game. After completing chapter number 3, let's find out what our discovery card is off the top of the deck. It is going to be 7 coins or +3 coins and gain any amount of potions for 1 coin each. I definitely like having the potions for the reroll, so let's go ahead and take the bottom portion, so +3 coins, and we're going to gain any amount of potions for every coin I spend. So I'm going to spend 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and let's go 1, 2, and 3, kind of biting into that 5, leaving me with 3 coins afterwards. So as I'm spending any amount of coins, I'm spending 9 coins to get 9 potions down here. So now I have a total of 13. And now we go to interest, and I'm going to choose to use my potions to my advantage to gain coins. So we got 1, 2, 3, and 4 coins. And we'll head into the shop phase to see what we get in terms of options. We got ourselves a torch that ties to mushrooms. We have a 0 face of a die with 2 potions. And we have this one here, which is a +2 to each roll that has that are the same face value on 2 dice, that is. So here are my 3 options that I have off the hop. I've only got 7 coins this time. Honestly, out of all of them, this is the most powerful, I think, so I think I'm going to go with that. I'm going to choose to destroy this one right here, as I don't really need it as much anymore, although it's nice for getting potions, but I just think this is going to be a great addition. And now we move on to advancing, where we reset everything and we head into chapter number 4. Going into chapter number 4, our target is now 27 on the track, and we need to find out what the boss is going to be doing to us when we hit the 3rd round of chapter 4. So let's find out. Top card off the deck says, after using mushrooms, destroy all mushrooms in that row. That is going to be a little bit of a pain. And this, my friends, is a perfect place to wrap up part number 1, completing 3 chapters as we now enter chapter number 4 together of a total of 5 chapters I hope to get through. So stay tuned to the channel and subscribe if you haven't already, as we'll be diving into a finale video of gameplay, which will wrap up this play session to see how I fare and whether I can take my characters all the way to the center of the earth. I really hope this helps you make an informed decision on the current running Kickstarter campaign, which you can find the link for in the pinned comment and video description. As you can tell from Rolling Deep, it is a fast-playing game. The rounds go by quickly, but the choices are very crunchy in terms of what you should do, what you should focus on, and also the boss effects that come out really do mess with you. And there's all kinds of different variation across these cards in the deck, ones that will start to stop you from using an entire row's worth of cards at times, and all kinds of other nasty effects. So if we happen to run into something like that, my entire plan here that I've built could go sideways, forcing me to have to rejig the entire thing. But as of right now, things have worked out, but there's more chapters to go and more wrenches to be thrown, so we'll see how things go. If you've enjoyed the playthrough so far, be sure to leave a like and let me know in the comments down below what you think about what you've seen so far. And if you're not a part of our Discord channel or the Facebook group, we'd love to have you in either or both those locations where we're talking about solo games just like this one on crowdfunding and all other released solo games out in the wild. You can find talk about games past, present, and future there in all aspects of the hobby. If you're looking to connect with other like-minded solo gamers, we'd love to have you. And if you enjoy what I do and it helps you get games off the shelf, learned, and to the table, or helps you find that next solo adventure to go on, something like Rolling Deep, for example, be sure to check the join button on the main page where you can become a member, a YouTube member, gaining perks you can't get anywhere else. Thanks so much for your support, and until the finale coming soon, keep on rolling solo.